This is the story of a massive ocean ship named Poseidon. This ship is so vishal that it has multiple floors inside, just like a moving building. Today, the ship is crowded and there is a joyful atmosphere everywhere. The date is December 31st and the new year is about to arrive. That's why a celebration is going on inside the ship. Some people are dancing to music in the party hall, some are laughing while playing cards, and others are enjoying themselves on the dance floor. Everyone feels like this night will pass only in happiness and celebration. But at the same time, the situation inside the ship's control room is a bit different. The captain suddenly feels that something is not right in the ocean outside. He looks carefully out of the window, and then his eyes fall on a terrifying rising wave ahead. That wave is so huge and dangerous that the captain's face turns pale just by looking at it. Immediately, the alarm is sounded and efforts begin to turn the ship. The captain tries with all his strength to steer the ship away from the wave, and somehow the ship manages to turn slightly. But the wave approaching them is so massive that just moments ago the moon was clearly visible behind it, and now that same moon completely disappears behind the giant wave.
It felt as if the ocean itself had turned into a massive wall, rushing straight toward the ship. And then, in the very next moment, that Vishal wave slammed into the vessel with full force. The impact was so terrifying that even such a huge and heavy ship couldn't withstand the pressure. Within seconds, the entire ship flipped upside down. What was once on top went below, and what was below came above. All the captains and officers present in the control room lost their lives in that horrific hadsa. Now, in the large hall of the ship, where the maximum number of people had gathered, chaos broke out everywhere. People were screaming in fear, completely confused about what had just happened. At that moment, an officer tried to calm everyone down. He told them that he had one piece of good news and one piece of bad news. The bad news was that the ship had completely overturned and the situation was extremely dangerous. But the good news was that just a few minutes before the wave hit, a message had already been sent from the control room to the rescue team, meaning help was on the way. Helicopters could arrive any moment.
So there was no need to panic. Hearing the officer's words, some people felt a small sense of hope. But in that same crowd, one man stood silently. He bent down near a dead officer lying on the floor and began taking out some important items from him, because he knew that the real fight was about to begin. At that moment, a small child walked up to him and asked in surprise, "What are you doing?" The man's name was Dylan. In a calm voice, he replied that he was preparing to find a way out of there. The child, shocked, said that getting out of there was impossible, but Dylan had already met the child's mother before, so he recognized him. Within a few moments, the child's mother also arrived. She asked Dylan, "What did you tell my son? Is there really a way out of here?" Without panicking, Dylan answered that yes, he knew a way. But the child's mother immediately refused and said that it wasn't possible. No one could get out of the ship in this condition. Just then, two more people arrived there. One of them was a man named Robert, and the other was an elderly man. The old man introduced himself as an architect, which meant he was an expert in designing buildings and large structures. He looked around and quickly realized how bad the situation was. If the ship kept breaking apart like this, most of the people trapped inside probably wouldn't survive. Just then, Robert turned toward Dylan and asked if he knew the way to the disco hall. Dylan replied that yes, the disco was on the upper side, but he was surprised and asked why anyone would want to go to a disco in a situation like this. Robert then explained that one of his friends was trapped there. He said he would find his friend first and then they would all try to get out together. Hearing this, Dylan clearly refused. He said that he always worked alone and had no intention of taking anyone with him. But Robert wasn't the kind of person to give up. He said to Dylan, "All right, if you don't want to come with us, then at least tell us this. What's the shortest way to get upstairs? Because now every second matters." Dylan then started explaining the route to them using gestures. At that moment, Robert said to him, "I'll pay you double of what you earn in a year. Just take us there yourself." Dylan thinks for a moment. Then he says that he knows the ship's structure very well, and if he stays with them, he can guide everyone through every part. He believes that if they all stick together, their chances of survival will be higher. But if they split up and start wandering separately, none of them might make it out alive. In the end, Dylan agrees. After that, all of them start moving together toward the lower part of the ship. Along the way, as people begin entering that section, the doors are sealed shut for safety so that more water doesn't get inside. Although there is already a lot of water inside, the doors and windows are strong enough to stop any more water from coming in. Everyone keeps moving forward slowly. There's only one fear in everyone's mind, to somehow reach the lower part of the ship and find a way out from there. But after going a little further, their path suddenly comes to a stop. The door ahead is locked, and in front of it lies several dead bodies. Seeing this makes the atmosphere even more terrifying. All of them together try to open that door. They hope that if it opens, they might finally find a way forward.